The table is set and the lights are dimmed. Long candles burning upon the table. 2 place settings. Black china furnished with old silverware. Slender stem glasses holding white wine. The reflection of the candlelight hanging in the liquid. A large mirror on one wall, reflecting the table and the painting. Inside the canvas, water rages. The naked man clutches a piece of wrecked ship. His eyes are raised towards a thin beam of light breaking through the dark clouds. A cabinet filled with crystal sits against another wall. On the 4th wall, there is a portrait of a woman. Her blouse is blue, and her earrings are diamond. Death moves through the room, past the table under the painting, the lamp, the brandy snifters, through the door to the kitchen, and the sound of the storms. There are noises from above, loud ominous sounds and flashes of light. The stairs go up forever. They are made of stone and lit by burning torches. On some landings there are doors. Sometimes the doors unlock, and one of them will open it and enter. You can wait for them to re-emerge, for the door to open again, but after a while, you leave and continue on up the stairs. The full moon has risen above the trees. The wind shakes the branches. The owl who lives by the creek is hunting. The lights of the house can be seen through the branches. Here, away from the house, in the woods, by the fallen tree, there are few signs of human presence. A cigarette butt stamped into the ground. Surface itself can be asphalt or concrete, built on mounds and bordered by chain link fences. It goes through mountains and over rivers. There are stretches, miles and miles, without exits or even rest areas. Only the landscape and the other cars. As it reaches densely populated areas, widens, rises, it passes over the other roads of the cities, and when it meets other highways, they merge at complicated intersections. Lanes multiply and diminish, turns, twists. The front porch light is burning. The trees are black outlines under the moon. There's a creaking as the swing barely moves in the breeze, mixing with the soft roll of the chimes. The swing is freshly painted yellow, hanging by rusty chains from the ceiling. Earthen pots are arranged about the porch. Some are hanging, filled with plants. The largest pot is on the floor, next to the door. The welcome mat is woven with thick strands of rope. The rest area sits away from the road. There's an information center with Coke machines and restrooms, picnic tables are scattered over the grounds. The tree line has been removed opposite the road to afford a view of the valley. People walk down to the edge from their cars. He pulls into a parking space where he can watch the people walking to and from the edge. The night landscape is a vague structure of noise and light that marks the points of impact. The explosion short-lived and sudden, flares floating in the sky. The trajectories of missiles. Sometimes the explosions are so close, huddled in the trench, the mud already inside your clothes. You can feel the land and air moving. Above, you can feel, if not see, the relentless presence of the jets burning through the night sky. There's a full basement at the bottom of the stairs. The light above the clothes washer has been left on. The lid to the washing machine is raised, revealing the machine to be empty. The dryer next to it is running, the clothes spinning round in the circular window. Woman's undergarments hang from a line above the big double sink next to the machines. The largest machine, the furnace, is still. It sits back in a corner, away from the wall, silent now. Underneath the water heater, sitting beside the furnace, there is a mousetrap loaded with yellow cheese. The rest of the basement was made into a large game room. There are shelves filled to overflowing with odds and ends. A radio and tape player sit on top of the shelves next to a small TV. Both a pool table and a ping pong table. The rack of pool sticks are next to a cabinet under the trophy of a largemouth bass. A dartboard hangs on the wall, a single dart stuck in the bullseye. The bars along the far wall, behind the pool table. Two wooden stools sit in front of the counter, which is empty, except for the two plastic ashtrays. A few bottles are on the shelves. An almost empty one of whiskey without a label. A bottle made to look like a vase. A full fifth of gin. A huge sake bottle, also empty. apple brandy with a painting of a pirate on the label. The walls are made of stone. A thin rectangular slot on the face of the door allows a ray of the outside light to shine through when the guard slides it open. Usually only before the twice-a-day feedings. Always the same food, hardly anything, only enough to sustain you until the next feeding. The cot is simple, crude, the mattress barely an inch thick. You lay on it anyway, or sit in a corner and contemplate the walls. The highway crosses the bridge over the river into the city, and the complex structure where various branches of the road meet and converge. A battery of signs announce the order of the various exits and entrances. He chooses to drive the highway through the downtown of the city, passing through the man-made canyon of high-rises. The city seems like an extension of the highway, giant rest area. Part of him wants to take one of the exits into the city and hide in the anonymity of the city streets. But he has plenty of gas and the call of the road strong within him. Every street is one way. The night sky is filled with the beams of spotlights and flares. Clouds of colorful gases are momentarily illuminated in the moving beams. The buildings are all tall, pressed against one another as they strain skyward, out of sight. Sirens sound constantly. Large vehicles, part tank, part garbage truck, pass noisily down the streets. Of people riding strange bicycles, no two wheels the same size. Rickshaws covered with black veils. Lepers and cripples beg along the sidewalk. You try to ignore them as you walk towards the square. Statue in the center's been leveled, so only the pedestal remains. A man dressed in a laboratory coat mounts the pedestal and begins to speak. At first you think that he is made up like a clown, But then you realize that his face has been ravaged by a skin disease. Fire rains from the sky, like the sounds of guns firing. The orator is struck down to the ground. The living room windows are open, and the curtains shift in the breeze. None of the lamps are lit. There are 2 couches, one made of leather, and the smaller one covered with a blanket. They are arranged with pillows. The coffee table is made of glass, supported by curved brass legs. A large ashtray, a bowl of mints, and a set of coasters. There is a fireplace, closed now. On one side of it, a small black poker and matching shovel. Above it, a mantle where a porcelain panther prowls among candle holders of silver and glass and framed photographs of 2 small girls in various stages of growth, infant shots to the oldest being 5 years old. Above the mantle, a painting of an old 2-story house sitting above a creek, surrounded by forest, the outlines of mountains in the background. It is daytime, and the forest is full of golds and reds. The landscape of the countryside seems constant, hardly ever changing. The road, unerringly straight. After the sunset, he rolls down the window, turns on the radio, and lights a cigarette. He moves into the right-hand lane and slows. The appearance of other headlights become less and less frequent. His headlamps illuminate a hitchhiker standing on the side of the road, holding a sign. He turns the car over to the side of the highway. The master bedroom's door is open. There is no light inside except for the moonbeams shining through the curtains covering the window. The bed is made, covered with a patchwork quilt. The frame is made of thick wood, elaborately carved at the stand and the end. Its feet are like huge cat paws. There's a bedside table with drawers and an alarm clock and reading lamp. 2 mirrors. One hangs on the wall above the dresser. A framed photograph sits on the dresser, a family portrait, husband and wife, 2 little girls. Random coins left where they were dropped. A closed wooden jewelry box. The other mirror is smaller and sits on a table. Beside the mirror, behind bottles of makeup, there's a small Polaroid of the 2 girls together in the woods, lit by a summer sky. These straps will cut into your flesh. and tighten as you squirm in pain. These are attached to the nipples and genitalia. These are placed on the temples. These will keep your eyes open. This light above you, shining in your eyes now, will never be turned off. And this will be stuffed in your mouth. The attic is dark. Someone has recently been here, their presence still lingering like cigarette smoke hanging in the air. They must have been looking through the open box that sits upon the ragged old sofa, stuffed with photographs and papers. The top photograph is the same family portrait that sits framed on the dresser downstairs in the bedroom. The attic is filled with stacks of boxes. A few items are laying around, unpacked, easy to see. A rocking horse made of wood with a pork pie hat and a crooked painted grin. A broken clothing rack. A couple of carpets rolled up, sitting behind the empty television console. On top of the console, a coin bank the shape of a beagle, the head cracked. A water globe with a miniature nativity scene, the bottom covered with white flecks, a stack of empty frames behind a set of luggage, an old vacuum cleaner beside the sofa. Above the sofa, a mounted moose head is attached to one of the crossbeams, a safari hat hanging precariously from the antlers. You know you're dead now, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the ceiling looks like or what that noise is up there. He takes the airport exit. The car in a far corner of the parking lot. The complex is newly renovated and glistens in the sunlight. The airplanes can be seen opens the trunk and removes the suitcases. He closes the trunk and, carrying his luggage, he walks towards the terminal, whistling. The kitchen is an oasis of light. Floor, glowing bulbs above the ceiling fan, turning. There are dozens of pieces of paper held to the face of the refrigerator by small magnets, comics, big single boxes, and also some strips featuring a boy and a tiger. A small calendar, a few dates circled in either black or red ink. A note card lists a few common foods: milk, bananas, olive oil. Various photographs, mostly of the little girls, and a man in a Santa Claus suit mugging for the camera. Some crude colorings, a postcard from Florida.